Richard Dick Gregory. On October 12, 1932 in St. Louis, Missouri, Dick Gregory was born to parents Presley and Lucille Gregory. His family was poor, so Gregory learned to make a way for himself early in life. While in high school, he tried out for the track team. He eventually made the team and excelled in track, helping him to earn a scholarship to Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. While in college, he became a track star and received the school's Outstanding Athlete Award. In 1954, he was drafted into the U.S. Army. There he got his start as a comic by winning several of the talent shows he entered. He was encouraged by his commanding officer to pursue comedy. He was discharged by the Army in 1956 and returned to Southern Illinois briefly before dropping out to change the world. His next step was moving to Chicago to take comedy seriously. He incorporated relevant social and political issues within his comedy, making him different from Bill Cosby or Nipsey Russell. In 1958, Gregory attempted to open a nightclub called Apex. The club was a failure and Gregory experienced financial hardships. He would not allow that setback to stop him. In 1959, he became the master of ceremonies at the Robert Shaw Club. As an upstart comic, Gregory worked at the United States Post Office as well as all black comedy clubs to make ends meet. His progress was starting to pay off. He became one of the first black comics to gain acclaim performing for an all-white audience. At the time, blacks were not allowed to perform in front of white audiences. Gregory stated, "Blacks could sing and dance in the nightclubs, but weren't allowed to stand flat-footed and talk to white folks, which is what a comic does." In 1961, while performing at the Robert Shaw Bar in Chicago, Illinois, Gregory was spotted by Hugh Hefner, who hired him to work at the Chicago Playboy Club to replace the white comedian Professor Irwin Corey. Gregory's next step was an appearance on The Tonight Show starring Jack Paar. The show was known for helping to propel young talent into the limelight. The Tonight Show offered Gregory an invitation several times, but he refused because blacks were allowed to be on the show but could not sit and be interviewed by Jack Paar. Gregory informed the show that he would not perform unless he could be interviewed like his white counterparts. The producers of the show finally agreed and allowed Gregory to perform and be interviewed. This was the first time a black person was interviewed by Jack Paar on The Tonight Show. Gregory's interview was one of the first times white America had a chance to see a black person in a humanizing manner on television. After the show, Gregory's career took off and he was on the road to becoming a legend. In 1959, Gregory married his wife Lillian Smith and they produced 10 children, as well as a happy, productive marriage. Gregory was often labeled as an absent father. In typical Gregory fashion, he replied candidly, "People ask me about being a father and not being there. I say, Jack the Ripper had a father, Hitler had a father. Don't talk to me about family." Mr. Gregory was also a political activist. In 1963, he spoke in Selma, Alabama to help the voting drive for African Americans known as Freedom Day. That same year, Gregory published his first book, Nigger, an autobiography. In 1968, Gregory ran for the presidency of the United States of America. He was a write-in candidate of the Freedom and Peace Party. He did not win, but he was the first African American to run for president. His campaign garnered over 47,097 votes. It also landed him on the master's list of Nixon's political opponents. In 1968, Gregory wrote his second book, Write Me In, which gave insight into his political campaign. In 1975, Gregory and assassination researcher Robert Gordon appeared on Geraldo Rivera's Goodnight America. This television event would prove to be historical. For the first time, the film of JFK's assassination was aired on public television. The showing sparked outrage, which led to the forming of the Hart-Schweiker investigation, which eventually led to the House Select Committee on Assassinations investigation. In 1979, Gregory and Mark Lane conducted research into the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. This caused the U.S. House Select Assassinations Committee to investigate Dr. King's and JFK's murder. Gregory and Lane co-authored the book Code Name Zero, which gave the conclusion that James Earl Ray did not work alone in the killing of Dr. King. In 1999, Gregory was diagnosed with lymphoma, which he began treating with herbs, vitamins, and exercise. The experience changed the way Gregory viewed his health. He became an advocate for a raw fruit and vegetable diet after becoming a vegetarian in the 1960s. He became a model for healthy living by changing his lifestyle and helping others change their lives as well. He developed a health drink called Bahamian Diet Nutritional Drink, which is commonly called Dick Gregory within the Black community. He founded Health Enterprises Incorporated in 1984 as a means to help improve the life expectancy of African American males. Mr. Gregory was a jack of all trades, but a master of self. He believed in freedom, justice, equality, health, and success. He released several audio works such as Living in the Black and White, East and West, Dick Gregory Talks Turkey, The Two Sides of Dick Gregory, and many more. Mr. Gregory has a career that covers 5 decades of work helping to improve conditions within the African American community as well as within American society. Mr. Gregory has shown his courage and tenacity many times on countless issues. The dedication and love he shows for African Americans is unparalleled by any other comedian in history. He is a living legend and a great influence on African people. Mr. Richard Dick Gregory, we proudly stand on your shoulders. On the Shoulders of Giants is brought to you by Live Skilled, Live Fulfilled. For more information, visit www.liveskilled.com.